This is Pat Henry, What They Think, speaking today with Benny Landa. Benny is founder of Landa Digital Printing. We are at the headquarters of Landa Digital Printing in Rehovot, Israel. Benny, thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Benny, as the industry knows, 4 years ago at Drupa 2012, you and your company made considerable news by introducing a new inkjet printing process called nanography and a line of printing presses built around that process. Tell us what has happened in the intervening 4 years and what you will be showing us at Drupa 16 in a couple of months.
Well, Pat, first of all, I'm delighted to be here, and thank you very much for inviting me for this interview. Yes, we unveiled nanography. It was a 12-year development, and then we unveiled it at the last Drupa. There's a lot of excitement around it because nanography at the last Drupa held the promise that we are now going to deliver on of offset quality at offset speed on virtually any paper stock in B1 or offset format and at offset competitive cost per print. And so that's why people stood in line to take LOIs out on the machines and why there was so much excitement about the product. And the product we showed were very early prototypes. We showed 7 different machines, different formats, from small ones to big ones. And what we learned in the interim from the customers is where the real demand is for these high volume mainstream digital printing presses. And what we learned is most of the heavy lifting in this industry is done in the large format presses, and that's where the greatest need is for digital printing. B1 sheet fed presses, 1 meter wide web presses, and so most of our focus in these past 4 years has been on these very high-end products rather than the B2 or the B3 size machines that we also showed at the last Drupa. The second thing that happened is that we realized after going to over 100 customers, understanding how their operators work, understanding how they run their businesses, how they would run the business with this kind of press, we realized that the press that we showed is not really the press the customers need. From small things like where we put the touch controls of the machine to big things like do they have inline coating and what the architecture of the machine is, service access and the like. So basically we totally re-engineered the products to create a new generation of nanographic printing presses, and that's what we're going to be showing this time at Drupa.
Can you go into a little bit more detail about the models? You're bringing several, not 7, but close to that many. Which can you say at this point what we'll be seeing?
Well, we under our own brand will be showing 4 different machines at Drupa. That's 3 different models, but 4 machines. We'll be showing 2 S10 single-sided presses. They're the ones that are focused. One machine will be focused on single-sided printing for folding carton. The other one for point of sale or point of purchase displays and the like, also single-sided printing. The second machine will be focused on commercial printing. It's one that does perfecting.
Right. And
the third machine will be focused on web printing for flexible packaging. It can also print on metal foils and carton board and the like, but it's a web machine for wide format.
And we will be seeing these running live at Drupa.
Yes, all machines will be running live at Drupa. 2 of the sheet-fed machines will be running at 6,500 sheets per hour. One of the machines will be running at 13,000 sheets per hour, which is a heart-stopping speed for any digital press, especially large format, high resolution, very high quality. This is the same speeds that offset presses run at, and the last will be running at 100 meters a minute. But all of these machines are engineered to all run at the 13,000 sheets per hour or 200 meters a minute.
Benny, Landa Digital Printing has not been alone these last 4 years in advancing inkjet technology.
Yes.
It's better than it ever was in terms of addressability, gamut range that can be addressed, so on and so forth. How is nanography going to be able to take what has been achieved to the next level?
Well, actually, we're huge beneficiaries of the tremendous progress that's been made in inkjet. Billions of dollars in the world are going into development of inkjet technology, especially the inkjet printheads, which are crucial for producing high quality. But many people ask me, so what's the difference between inkjet and nanography? The fundamental difference is this. With inkjet, you jet drops directly onto a substrate. And of course, for high volume inkjet, commercially, you must have water-based inkjet. And that means you're jetting water-based ink directly on a substrate. And that is the crux of the limitations of inkjet. Because ink, the wet ink, contacts the paper, penetrates into the paper, it wicks along the paper fibers, and that limits the quality. It affects the edge sharpness, affects the optical density, and therefore inkjet printing in high speed is very limited. And what nanography does is, rather than jetting directly on the paper, we jet onto an intermediate belt, a conveyor belt like blanket. We jet onto the blanket, we dry the ink on the blanket, and because the ink is like a hot melt adhesive, we then transfer this ink directly to the substrate, so the quality is determined well before it even knows what substrate it's going to be transferred to. So all the images are identical no matter what you transfer. You can print on any kind of paper stock, no treatments, no coatings, and that's the fundamental difference, because that's what the industry needs for mainstream.
Well, Benny, we are going to be paying close attention to this at Drupa. We know that you're going to be there for the duration of the show, obviously. I think I've heard you're going to be doing 55 demos throughout the show.
Absolutely.
I will be at, as I'm sure our other colleagues will be at, a number of them, and we thank you for giving us this preview.
Thank you, Pat. Pleasure.
Okay, Pat Henry, What They Think. Thanks for watching.